Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to have a small discussion video on whether or not to run the Melffy package, the Swap Frog / Totally Awesome / Ice Barrier package, or if you want to run both. And just to preface as well, before I start, I wanted to thank everyone for the recent support on the deck profile video. If you're joining from that video there, welcome to the channel. If you're joining from my past videos in the past, before all of the Ice Barrier stuff, welcome to you as well. And of course, if you're new to the channel, I hope you enjoy the content. Shiny cards. I actually upgraded the extra deck Sprights stuff just then actually. The two gigantic QCRs and the sprint QCR, they look beautiful. You can't even really tell under this lighting, noticed, as I can see on the camera, but that is besides the point. Let's jump into the video. All right, so for the two packages, we have the Totally Awesome, we have 3 Swap Frogs, we have the Mirror Mage, and we have the Freezing Chains of the Ice Barrier. And then for the Melffy stuff, we have the Caddy, the Penny, Melffy of the Forest, and Herald of the Arclight. And you can make a call on whether or not to run the level 4 Melffy Synchro that bounces when it's special summoned, but I personally would not run it because I feel like that is enough. So when we look at these two packages, 5 cards in the main deck, 1 card in the extra deck, 2 cards in the main deck, 2 cards in the extra deck, maybe 3, but unlikely. If you run them together, that's 7 cards in your main deck in total, and then you also have 3 cards in the extra deck. So some people are saying to run both of them. I think everyone can agree that the Toad stuff and the Mirror Mage of the Ice Barrier plus the Freezing Chains is just such a good combination to run. It's too good not to put in because it provides you with obviously an Omni Negate, and you also have some recursion through Toad, so you're able to play through some board breakers a little bit better now. Now, in terms of the Melffy stuff, you're still getting the macro / deep fissure effect off of this, as well as the Omni Negate. And of course, you can still reborn either of them using Double Cross, so they're kind of even on that front. But let's have a look at the combos and what the end board is actually, not so much the combos. This will not be a combo video, but I'll show you one quickly here because I will obviously need to show you the end board. Let's say you start with a pretty decent hand. Let's see what you can end with this hand, okay? So let's start with the... I'll put these aside on over here. Let me just sort this out quickly. And we're just going to dump the main deck all together at once. Let's start with the Fenrir special summon. And we're going to start with the Beaver. And I'm only showing you guys the entire combo here because I want to show you the end board and what difference it'll make depending on which package you have. Beaver effect, summon the Angler. And you're going to overlay here to play around the Bureau. Gigantic effect, we want to touch Beaver now because we can add that back with Toad. To summon Swap Frog. Frog effect to dumping the Mirror Mage effect to add the Freezing Chain to your hand, and that's in hand now. And then if that resolves and you don't get drawed, obviously you want to Fen Research as well. So let's go ahead and Fen Research. From here, I think it's good to get the Omni out, so we're going to use Freezing Chains. Put that down there. Effect targeting the Mirror Mage of the Ice Barrier in Graveyard, special that. Going to overlay. Make our Toad. And then we're going to go with the rest of the cards. So now we have an Omni up in case they wanted to hold it for some other reason. But, you know, you can make the call whether or not to negate in the first place. Blue effect. Search Jet. Special Jet effect. Search Smashes. So in my deck profile, some of you asked about the trap versus spell stuff as well. I think it's better to run Smashes going first, and then you can also use it going second. The trap is just a brick going second, and if you want to run both, go for it, but just be aware of the risk that might have as well. So right now, we have this board here. From here, I think we always want to just link off with the 2 level 2s, because there's no reason not to keep a Gigantic around in case it survives until the next turn, in which case you can just free detach in and, you know, summon. Sprint effect, dump. Dumping the Angler. And then Angler effect to summon the 2 Beavers. As a quick side note as well, some of you asked about the discard stuff, e.g. Super Poly Droplet. You asked about whether or not you had enough cards in hand, how it felt, whatever. First of all, Fenrir itself kind of replaces itself because you search another copy whenever after you play around draw, right? After you test for draw, I should say. And then Toad also adds back every single time it's into the graveyard, so it's quite nice. So I personally think that it's okay to run because you will have cards in hand most of the time. You can also go starter to add blue, and then blue add something. Obviously you can't Super Poly after because you're locked in, but you can still droplet with that additional card if you want to, sending starter as well, whatever you want, I don't know. And then from here, so previously obviously the Toad wouldn't be here. You'd have like a red maybe instead if you don't open the blue. If you're summoning off of Gigantic, maybe you're summoning like an Ibli, or you're summoning an Hyperia to draw one, whatever. So the Toad wouldn't be here, but for the Melffy stuff, let's just put this aside here. For the Melffy stuff, I should not be sending them to the graveyard. We'll summon the Forest here, and we'll go Forest Effect, attach, cost, to search, the Caddy, and then we'll special the Caddy during the end phase, and that would be our end board for the Melffy stuff. You guys have seen this, you guys know all this. Now, during your opponent's turn, obviously when they normal summon something, you can use the Caddy to bounce, quick synchro. Well, obviously you wouldn't quick synchro just yet because you'd use the Fiendish Chain. So you'd put out the Herald of the Arclight afterwards, and that would be the board that your opponent would have to contest with. So we have one bounce. This is not here because it's not the Melffy, not a Melffy card. We have one bounce. We have a Fiendish Chain. We have the Omni Negate / Little Deep Fissure, and we have the Fenrir Banish as well as Smashes in hand. And this was a 3-card combo to begin with, so you have 2 other cards, both of which have a chance of being like a board breaker or a hand trap as well. Now, if we look at this board here, it's quite nice, right? You can also like summon this back if it's game 2 or 3 and you're going first again with double cross. You just wouldn't have the Smashes instead, unless you like hard draw both of them and you're playing both of them for some reason. So not too bad of a board. However, what I want to talk about is, first of all, we already have an Xyz here. Sometimes you will go through the Gigantic line and you end up having only 2 materials on board, which you have to use, including Gigantic, to link off into Sprint to summon your the rest of your engine, right? But you'll probably have Melffy the Forest at least on board to bounce something. So we have a Sprint material. But with the Swap Frog package, you actually don't need to go into the Xyz here because you already have Swap Frog. So you already have Toad on board. So this would be in the extra deck for the other one. I'll show you the Swap Frog line now. Not line, but end board. So now we have this. We're back to this stage here, except we have Toad now. Instead, I was thinking we just link these 2 off, go into an IP, and that would be the end. So what this allows for is, well, first of all, Toad can summon during the standby phase. Whether or not you want to, you can make the call, because obviously you're playing to Super Poly. Bolt attach for cost, summon a Swap Frog. If you want to mill the last one so you draw more consistently, or like your deck is a little bit less bricky, you can dump the Swap Frog as well. Remember that Toad doesn't have to send itself, right? It sends an Aqua from your hand or your field to the graveyard to do the Omni Negate and then set. Obviously, don't get the add back because Toad itself has to hit the graveyard, but you can also send the Swap Frog that you special summoned from your deck. You can also use this as link fodder for IP. So IP is obviously going to go into an SP. And so through that, you have a bounce with either Toad or Gigantic might not be here, but Toad most likely will. You have a banish of Fenrir, you have an Omni Negate plus add back, you have a banish of SP, and you also have a banish of Smashes as well. And then Toad also allows you to add back your Nimble Beaver for a starter for next turn. So I personally think that although you get the Fiendish Chain effect and the mini macro, I think Toad is just so much better to run as a package if you were to pick between the 2. And SP Banish is just as good, right? Because it's another form of interruption. It's a banish on their turn, plus you get to banish another one of their monsters if they use an effect. So I'd say this is definitely the more comfortable board at the risk of running one brick, which is obviously this card here. And the amount of times I drew it in test games was kind of sad because it's obviously a one-of in the deck, but I drew it quite a few times. But it is what it is, right? Aside from that, I think if you were to run both, a lot of people were contemplating running both. I think it's a little bit too much on the going first side. In this format, well, in every single format, I'd say like, unless it's a strong like going second board breaker format, I think it's always worthwhile to have some kind of like a going second card, like a good mixture of going second cards, not just going first power cards. What I mean by that is if you're going first, obviously it's great to have the Melffy stuff as well as the Toad stuff because you have 3 Omni Negates instead. If you have the trap, the double cross as well. But at the same time, like you're trading off the SP. If you can just make an IP there, like why not just make it, right? And then at the same time, you don't clog up your deck with a couple of, you can say bricks, but they're just like level 2s. But my issue with them is that you don't have any like crackback going second. You can't really make a board under this. Whereas if these 2 cards were board breakers instead, then it'll be a lot better. So what I'm trying to say is you're trading off cards that are quite nice going first, but situationally good for going second cards, where you can also just make like just as strong of a board if you weren't running them instead, and you had the 2 Nimble Beavers to link off. All right, that's it. Take care, guys. See ya.